Hello, my friends. I'm on time getting this done for you, and hoping it's all working. I just got back from a long drive up to the end of the lake, the beautiful Lake Geneva that you're seeing in front of you. We went to so many little towns and stopped off. Um, the lake is enormous and it's so beautiful. And Lisa loves to go at the end of the day because the colors are so amazing. And so this is the town we stopped at again, just totally gone out of my head. Um, but the names don't sound like they're spelled, so I probably wouldn't even be game to try and pronounce some of them. I did work out that last week I was saying the word Anici or something, and it's actually Annecy, the town that we went to. And today I've written them down in the phonetic spelling, so hopefully I can get the towns right. Hope you've had a great week. I'm so exhausted. I'm about to leave tomorrow to go to Italy. It is a long journey. It will take me the whole day to get down to Popoli, the little town that I'll be staying at for a couple of weeks. So hopefully I'm not sure what's going to happen. I don't even know where I'm going after that. I've got no plans. I've got 1 week booked at the end of August, but it's the start of August coming up, and I can't even, I've got absolutely zero plans. We'll work it out. We'll fly by the seat of our pants. So this week we went into Geneva and we went to a museum, which was also an art gallery. And I'd forgotten that I really loved the work of Sicily. And this is one of his paintings. And I don't know what it was about it. I feel like sometimes it reminded me of Scotland, the colour that's sort of not bright and cheery. It's showing that they're gritty and full of hard work. And I actually feel like that's what the Swiss people are like. They're it's not a very flash place, as in the countryside is beautiful. People are so gorgeous and glamorous and tall and thin, and everyone cycles and everyone's fit and running and enjoying life, but they're quite restrained. And I guess that's what I felt when I saw this Sicily painting. It did remind me a little of my feelings about the Swiss people. However, my messages for this week, again, not deep and meaningful. Nothing really profound hit me this week, I must admit. But I did think about making sure that you are present. So when you're doing things, that you're fully present with that. So that happened a few times with things where I was trying to be in a hurry doing things and not focusing on exactly where I was. The other thing I think that I wanted to say is as you get older, I feel like it's harder to find your soul tribe. I think when you're younger, you fit in to different groups, and as you get older, it's harder to find people who you would think you would call your have a connection with. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. And then um, I noticed a lot this week when we were out and about, and especially when you have dogs, there's this energy flow between people when you're out, and lovely things happened across the week, some very funny and some quite quirky. So I'll talk about some of those as we go. All right, into it. So I wanted to show you some more artwork. Renoir on the left and Cezanne on the right. These were in the museum. The museum was pretty big. The outside of the building, I don't even think I've got a photo. I might have a photo. I might have put the photo in the WhatsApp group. Was like a Roman front to these buildings in Geneva. Geneva's a very quirky place. Again, I wouldn't say overly beautiful, like it's not stunning when you walk in and think, wow. I thought Geneva might be, it seems to have a reputation of that. But when you got there, it's a business like, everyone again has a job to do, and it feels like they're just getting on with it. And that was a bit like their museum. However, some of the artwork, especially in this one room, and they'd put together some amazing artwork. And I think, again, I showed you in the WhatsApp group Picasso, and there was Monet's and Van Gogh, all in one room. But to me, it just reminds me you have to go and you have to have joy and see art in your life. There's so many clever people out there. And to me, whether you're an artist or not, whether you want to be an artist, I think you should give it a go. Because I bet you Picasso and his picture that he did that I put in my WhatsApp group, which looks like stick figures, like brown stick figures on a blue background, which apparently is 5 men bathing at the ocean, made on wood. Back in the day, people would have laughed and thought, oh my God, that's not worth a penny. And now it's a Picasso. So obviously I can't show you around Switzerland without showing you some of the scenery. This week, we're down on the lake, right? Like literally 10 minutes from the edge of the lake. But Lisa wanted to show me a walking track up in the mountains above a place called, I'm going to say Gex, Gex. And we just literally zigzagged our way up this hill, which is what's on the left, and we tried to get some photos. It's been quite hazy, and I've just heard that there's fires around because I don't watch the news anymore. Who needs the world news to put a dampener on your holiday? But it's been really hot and up to sort of nearly 30 degrees, so it's been quite hot, and I assume the fog and things is from the mountains and the mist and everything. But most of the time, by the time the late afternoon hits, it gets clear, which is the picture on the right. And so this was up on this mountain track that we were looking down from. I obviously didn't go any further closer to the edge than where I was standing. But one of the things I noticed in the rocks, and obviously this gets covered in snow when it's in winter, the little crevices where the rocks would split apart and move, with the temperature changes, the trees look like they're bonsai'd. So within the roots on the rocks, the trees have got hold, but because of the stunting, they look like bonsai trees, and it looked like just a little bonsai, but in bigger form. So it was quite beautiful. So I had a really good day. And again, did not want to go for a mountain walk like me, mountain climbing, like hiking, not really my thing. And when we got there, the track was this gentle slope. It was covered in sometimes, like concrete, paving, sort of bitch pave, sometimes just solid, compacted rock. But it was gentle and it was a slope. And we walked for, I think I did my 7,000 steps in that walk. So I was pretty annoyed at myself that I would have not done it had Lisa not forced me in some ways, which she didn't force me, but she encouraged me to do the walk. And it was just beautiful and it was lovely. And it was the end of the day, probably 6:30, just beautiful. So as we're coming back down, as I said, it cleared. Like lots of times the fog sort of clears. So the one on the left is looking towards the sun. The one on the right is actually, do you know what that one's called? That's called Mont Blanc. And Mont Blanc is in every picture that you can see. Like in the gallery, there were like literally a whole room of Mont Blancs because it's such an incredible sight when you look across the other side to see and think, that is a mountain. That's a real mountain covered in snow. It's not a cloud. It's actually a mountain. So it freaks you out a little that the scenery can be so incredible here. So this is in Geneva. This is a church on the left that has multiple denominations within one church. And I think you can tell by the look of the outside that over the generations and over the changes in the religions here, that the churches have morphed. And so Lisa tells me that they went from being Catholic to being Protestant, but like an Orthodox Protestant in some ways, that stripped back all of the a magnificence of the Catholic Church and just made it quite plain. So when you go into the front of this church, one side of the building is columns and I don't know if I've actually got more shots here for you, but I'll have a look. But one side is like just plain, no ornate anything, and the other side is decorated with even curtains and colourful mosaics, colourful murals and stained glass and everything. So it was just weird that it was in one church. That's Lise looking over. There was a swan down below. We were just arriving, and this is the harbour as you come in to Geneva, and that's a water spout that goes all the time. And it was quite refreshing, actually, because this day was very hot. Oh, I didn't put it in, but I think I might have put some photos in the WhatsApp group of the inside of one of the churches. I'm not going into lots of churches anymore. I feel like, you know, when you go to Italy, you're going to get churches that are churches. The Catholics do the church as well. Other places, it takes a little to get me excited about what's inside. Not being a churchy person, sorry. This is just a door, just a door, and just a door handle. So when you think about, doing up something at your house, maybe you could put just a little door handle and a front door knocker that has, a brass or copper or whatever that's made of statue on your door. We do things like that in Australia, I'm sure. I've got one on my front door. Aha! Here is the church. So now you can believe me. So if you were looking at that picture on the left, you would think I would have thought I was in Italy, maybe Greece. But it's actually the front of the church. And then this is this inside of the decorative side. So every panel in every part of the church on the right-hand side, as you look at it, was covered in these amazing, colourful, or almost Moroccan sort of colours and styles. And then the left-hand side was this quite formal, stern, serious building. This was in the museum. So the museum was just around the corner from the church. That is an instrument that was sent from Italy to someone there in Geneva. I've never seen an instrument like that. I don't know what it's called. Probably is on that little note down there that I take notes on so that I remember what they're called. But I thought it was quite beautiful. And this is the Picasso I was talking about. Like, hello. That is now worth, obviously, millions of dollars, being a Picasso, but it was done on wood and it surfers. You can see the guy there about to dive off the diving board, or the dude that looks like a banana. What the? But it's Picasso, so now it's worth millions. This is some scenery from literally just outside our door. This is where Lisa walks her dogs. They are pruning the grapes, and I was watching the moon. You can see the moon here. It was a half moon. I'm leaving before the full moon, but I'll see that in Italy. And then as the sun sets, the colours just change beautifully, and I wanted to capture that in the one on the right. So definitely come to Switzerland. I would suggest, summertime is a great time to come. I decided to put this in even though I really didn't want to, but I wanted to show you that we have been swimming every single day, summertime in Switzerland, every day sunshine. From the first day I arrived, we got a storm. I think first or second night I was here. They've had, storm warnings, but we haven't had a second storm. And then tonight, as we're out and coming home at 10 o'clock, sprinkles of rain. That's the only rain I've had so much in 10 days. So you have to come in summer to Switzerland. The lake is incredible. You can see just everybody's out on the lake. This is a yacht school, and they take sort of teenage kids out on it. But the reflections on the water and just the life, and swimming in fresh water is just a really different feeling to what we're used to in Australia, swimming in the salt water. More scenes. This isn't actually straight out the back. This is, I don't know why I took that one on the right. Is there a moon in that photo? I can't see. Yeah, there it is. Sorry, it's behind my head in my shot. This is further along. Lisa rides bikes all around the area because these are the roads that you can go on. If you're in the middle of a paddock. They have roads that cars can't go on, but you can ride your bike and you can walk your dog on them. And so, again, as soon as you go off the edge of the lake, up the sides of the hills, all the way along the side of the lake are crops, whether it's corn at the moment or wheat, corn or grapes. And then they have fruit orchards all the way along. And then obviously they're harvesting different paddocks, and the colours just are amazing. And we watched this lovely lady. She was so proud of herself. We were standing here, we just parked and were taking photos. And this lady came along on her bike, and she got just up to us. And everyone in Switzerland says bonjour, and you have to say bonjour back. But I usually just say hello so they know I'm English, because if they start talking to me in French, I'm in trouble. And so this lady went, oh, she said, this is my first time that I've been out. I've got to the top of this for the first time without stopping. And she was so proud of herself. And we had a little chat. And the weirdest thing happened. We then got in our car and we were driving back. And she said she lived in Funau, I think it's called. I think that's what it's called. And we're in Coppet, and they are like neighbouring suburbs. And as we were driving literally into our street, here she was on her bike and had made her way all the way back home. So the randomness of that, when you think about it again, to go out, take pictures, drive home another 15 minutes later and see the same person is pretty incredible. But it was her pride in herself for the achievement of being the first time that she got up that hill, which was just lovely, and that we were there to share that with her. Well, now we're in a place called Celigny, and Celigny is where Richard Burton is buried. Not that I'm a huge, Liz Taylor, Richard Burton fan, but it was something that was worth seeing. And apparently he escaped to Switzerland because of some tax problems that he had. And I didn't really realize that he was only, like, I think that says he's around 60 when he died. That's a bit sad. I was sort of sad for that he died so young, but he probably lived that lifestyle that he did. And now he's buried in this tiny little, very beautiful cemetery, but their cemeteries here seem a little random in that they've got very old people buried there, but then they're sort of got family members buried there. So you'll see in the photo in the middle that there are quite old headstones, and then there's quite new ones all mixed up in this remote little cemetery in Celigny. And the beautiful house on the right, you can rent that out. Again, if you want to do functions, come over and you can rent that out and run some workshops for some of the people that you want to, if I can tell you where it is. Then we spent a day catching the paddle ferry. It's like a ferry. It's like a big old paddle ship, and caught it to Neon. Well, we caught it first to Ivoire, and Ivoire is one of the prettiest towns on the lake. And then we came back and we stopped at Neon, and I'll show you some photos of that. But this paddle steamer I'll show you a photo coming up. But again, you can't come here without spending days on the lake. So we went, there's the paddle steamer, and they've kept it like that. This is the inside on the right, obviously, and the outside on the left. It's quite expensive. I wouldn't think it's very cheap. Nothing is cheap in Switzerland. Bring your very big wallets if you're going to come here. The other day, I bought a salad bowl for lunch in Geneva, and it cost me $40. It was lovely, but for $40, you would expect it to be lovely. A chicken salad bowl, $40. So the Paddle steamer is still original, like they've kept them. I think it's really lovely because I don't know if they run on steam. I'm not really sure how the engine thing works. If you want to see, I've got a video. But you can actually, on both sides of the paddle steamer, they've left these little windows. So the red part you can see on the other side. You can watch the paddle going around and round. And while you're traveling on it, these children are always there. There's boys looking, taking photos. And it's quite a long trip. I think it took us 45 minutes. You had to stop not very many times. I think we only stopped at one stop on the way there and one stop on the way back. But I would spend a whole day if you could traveling around and looking at the different places on the lake. So there's some animal shots. I grouped them together. I didn't really put them in order of where we found them because the first one is in Geneva, and the last one is in Ivoire. These tiny little birds were getting people's leftovers from their ice creams. So the ice cream cones that you just don't eat that crunchy end bit. Who eats the crunchy end bit? If you do, put it in the comments. I usually just throw mine to whatever's around. So I broke it up and gave it to this whole little family of these birds. Now, in the middle, Lisa went for a swim in the lake in Ivoire. There wasn't really anywhere right near the town. So we went for this walk just down into a sort of a remote area. I'm going to see if I put any more photos in. No, I didn't. But this is Ivoire. This is what it looks like. It's so pretty. We had really lovely food here. And if I've got my food shots, I'll show you about the food. But you couldn't really swim. And as soon as the ferry landed, obviously hundreds of people got off. But we went. No, I didn't put it in. I think I put it in the WhatsApp group. We went down to this little cove, and it was like someone's old garden. It was like The Secret Garden, if you watch that movie. I know I'm going to keep talking about kids' shows, but The Secret Garden, the old one, is like one of my favorite movies ever. It's so sweet and beautiful. And this little secret garden, Lisa went in for a swim in this little cove. And I'm sitting there. I'm not getting in my swimmers and getting in the water, but I'm sitting in the pool and I'm watching this thing in the water. And I went, oh my God, is that a turtle? What in the hell is that in the water? Anyway, when Lisa came back in, I said, I don't know if there's a turtle or there's a Loch Ness and a Loch Geneva monster out in the water, but there's something that keeps bobbing up and down and up and down. And if you look in the video, in the WhatsApp group, I think I showed a photo of Lisa. If I didn't, I'll have to share it with you, holding what was in the water, a mysterious giant object. Keep you in suspense. So Ivoire, definitely worth a stop. We had this meal that I had on the left in this cafe. The lady that served us, when you greet people, usually they'll say bonjour. Well, bonjour. You got to get it high. Bonjour, not bonjour. And if you say hello, they will switch to English, but reluctantly, I would say. This lady in this shop was so bubbly and friendly and sort of was playful. And so we had a little bit of trouble finding somewhere to eat. So we sat down and they had a steak. You're going to pay 30 Swiss francs, 30, I think I paid 34 for this meal, Swiss francs, which is like $60. Anyway, don't think about the money. But the steak was delicious. But the potato chips they made, and they're not in that photo because they cook them fresh, and they like curled, real crisp chips, but they're made on fresh potato and they're cooked beautifully. And both Lisa and I said they were the best chips we think we've ever had. They were delicious. And this is photos of us on the day. we obviously were early waiting for the ferry to come. And so Lisa, like a black snake, after we ate, had a lie down and a snooze. This is where I took the photo of the little bird. The other thing that was gorgeous about this photo, and I'm glad I didn't get to show you, is that there was a grandfather and grandmother sitting under this tree at the next point after this story. And I'm telling you this because it was quite cute. Standing beside them was a little child about the size of the one there, maybe 3, perhaps 4, like Brayley. Brayley's birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Bray. And this little girl, starkers, nude as, blonde hair like a little Swiss, and not Swiss, Swedish, blonde, whole body brown, chatting away like she's an old lady, chatting to her nan and pop sitting under this tree. And I was killing myself because she was having a serious conversation, standing there starkers. No one, no one cared. And I thought, oh, the joy to be a child who does not care about their body image, who doesn't care what people are thinking, who's just caught up in that moment when she's having a conversation about something. And the grandfather was animated and he's telling her a story and she's animated and they're all having ice cream and having a wonderful day out. It's so beautiful to see. The photo in the middle is Lisa and I in neon. We climbed up to the top. Again, Lisa's encouragement to get me to the top of a castle-y thing. I'll show you a photo, I think. If I haven't got it here, it's in the WhatsApp. There's a castle up on the hill, and we climbed up and got this guy to take a photo of us at the top in our walking gear. The lake itself, that's the castle on the right. I thought I took it here. That's neon, and this is just houses along the lake. What is so amazing is there is such a huge lake edge because it's so enormous. There are patches that just aren't built out. Like, obviously, it's being taken over, and I can't even imagine what the prices of the houses are on the edge of the lake. But there are big, huge sections that are still green and beautiful, and I would love to have a house on the lake. That is my week. So along with working this week, I managed to travel everywhere. Here we are, we're up looking down from that castle, looking over Lake Geneva. So we were in neon here. I am exhausted. I have a cold sore on my lip. I feel like the weather has been so hot and we got so much sun across some of these days that I think just I'm a little worn out. But I'm so excited because, like I said, tomorrow I head to Italy. So for the next, I think it's 10 weeks, I'll be in Italy, sending you whatever I can find. I've got people I'm going to catch up with, beautiful people from my past, people from America and Australia and Florence, just to name a few. Some Australians living in Italy now. So I'm hopeful to give you some different stories and different places. So to finish off with, again, I will say thank you to everyone who wants to leave and don't want to listen to my jibber jabber. I hope to see you again next week. Please, if you can, just like my video if you watch it, just so I know how many people are watching. I can't see who's watching, so you don't have to worry about that. If you want to write a comment, you can. That's awesome. If not, don't worry. But I just thought it's nice to see people interact with your things. So when I wrote about in my first part of my opening that being present, one of the things I've noticed around over here is most of the families, and that's again like I know I'm going to find in Italy, they go out together as groups. So I don't know how many times I've seen families where there's mum, dad, and 2 children out for the day. And what I think is happening elsewhere in the world is we get caught up in our phones, we get caught up in what we're doing, and we're not present and looking up at what's going on. And so many times where, and this lesson happens to me over and over again, where I'll think, oh, I've got to get to here, whether I'm driving, whether I'm, following a map, whatever it is. And I look to the left or look to the right and see something totally different. So I just want to remind you, get your head out of your phone, um, put your phone down and spend time just enjoying what's around you. Um, we take for granted how beautiful Australia is and where we live. I know that. And whatever country you're in, don't take it for granted, because we can get caught up in that negativity and, reading the news and why I won't read the news. Try and stay out of all that gunk that they keep throwing at you and just enjoy yourself. Give voice to your soul. For me, I've got to keep checking my phone because I had to write messages because it's 11:30 at night here and my brain is a little scrambled. One of the things about finding people that you get along with, it doesn't have to be in a lifelong journey. I think part of the things that I'm learning is the little conversations that you have with people. Um, you find yourself as well as you are talking to other people. So when you say something, you've clarified your own thoughts and spoken it. And I think, the best friends in the world, and have so many friends. I feel like that tumbleweed gathering friends across my life and just creating these amazing friendships. But over here, where you know that you may only have such a short time, just even having a conversation with someone and being positive can help you and help them. So that energy flow between the two of you for me has happened again across this week. Lisa pats every dog that ever walks past her, and in that interaction, everyone has connection with their animals. I'm I'm not overly an animal person, but the conversations that you have that build from the connections are just amazing. All over the world, everyone is the same. And so I feel like, again, remember that if you have a conversation with someone, wherever that is, don't be frightened to talk to someone, to ask someone, do they need a hand? We had trouble putting petrol in the car because, again, every petrol station has a different machine. As I've told you one story already where I couldn't do it. And this man that was behind us, obviously waiting for us to pay for our fuel, came and helped Lisa do it. And no problem whatsoever. He just helped without any feelings of anxiety. We had trouble putting money into a parking machine. And the young girl who was going to work said, would you like some help? And she said it in a way that wasn't nasty. She said, I just need to go to work. But she said, would you like some help? Are you having any problems? I just need to go to work. And so it was, again, the way she said it that was amazing. This week, I've helped some people who've been struggling with things, and I've contacted friends and had help with things, that just have frustrated me. This week, I had financial problems because, I was waiting on money to come through and it was a week late, and bills are coming in, and relying on people and having that shared conversation is just amazing. And I think we should do it. I wanted to ask you a question. This week, I saw not, and I didn't show a lot of flowers this week, but I want to ask you a question. If you were a flower, what would you be? And I know that one of my friends is going to say Daisy. And if she's watching this, she knows who she is. She's the most beautiful Daisy. And that's what she calls herself as a Nan. She's Daisy. And we have seen so many flowers with different characters, and I think what I'll try to do, and hopefully I can get some more flower photos and talk about it next week. But if you want to, put in the chat box, what flower do you think represents you and your personality? Lots of love to all of you. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope, that the weather is fantastic where you are. It's not too hot or not too cold. It's just Goldilocks, right? And I will See you next week. Lots of love.